What is up, guys? And welcome back to another just quick little update. This is going to be just me re-explaining what the Bat Podcast is. Again, just going to be my last explainer of what the Bat Podcast is. Okay? So, the Bat Podcast will be, don't get it twisted, I think I've said this before, it will be its own separate podcast, okay? And it's a peer review of my podcast, okay? So, how it's going to work is, like, if you have a rebuttal to whatever I throw or pitch, you're going to get on there, right? I know I said you're going to tell me if it's a strike or a hit. No. You're only going to be on the Bat Podcast if you have a rebuttal, right? So it's only if you have a rebuttal. If you don't like what I pitch and you have a rebuttal, get on the Bat Podcast. If you agree with what I say, then don't get on the Bat Podcast. That was my mistake I made earlier. Okay, so let me say again. If you have a rebuttal to my pitch, if you want to hit my pitch, then get on the Bat Podcast, okay? Let me explain it again. This could be anyone. It could be a bunch of people sending me video messages telling me why Canada should keep its 30-gram marijuana limit, or why basketball should never have designated free throw shooters, or why the NBA should never have designated free throw shooters, or there's no way a woman could be a designated free throw shooter in the NBA because there's no way you could put a woman in the NBA doing that, or there's no way you could put a woman in the men's game as a designated free throw shooter. That's just impossible, right? Or there's no way Canada should be selling people more marijuana than 30 grams. It's crazy. I will go on the Bat Podcast, right? Oh no, you don't need to pitch a Grand Theft Auto 7 or 8. There doesn't need to be any more Grand Theft Autos, okay? If I pitch a trade or something, like DeMar DeRozan for CJ McCollum, or I can pitch a trade for any sport. I just love basketball. No, you can't trade this player for that player. I disagree. I'm going to hit that out, right? So they are rebuttals. They are rebuttals. If you disagree with the pitch, if you want to hit the pitch out, get on the Bat Podcast. Again, I could find a host who disagrees with whatever I pitch. It could be a bunch of people. You guys sending me video messages of you disagreeing about the pitch. No, Canada needs to keep it. What are you talking about, Chitty? So, again, if you disagree with the pitch, then get on the Bat Podcast. I'll say it again. If you disagree with the pitch, then get on the Bat Podcast. It is for a rebuttal, okay? And I'll tell you this again. It's not just to disagree with what I pitch. It's its own podcast, okay? So I'll give you an example. Just recently, there was they put a transgender dude, and this guy changes his gender to a female, and he started competing in the women's 100 or 200 meter relay, and he started killing the competition, right? So if you think it's not a good idea to have transgender people compete in even women's sports, right? Even if you think that's not a good idea, even though I didn't pitch it, right? You could even get on the Bat Podcast and even knock out that idea that, transgender people shouldn't even be competing against women because it's not fair. You know what I mean? You could go and pull up a clip of there was just a guy recently who crushed the the female competition game in a race. I think So if you say that's not fair, then you would get on the Bat podcast and you would describe why it's not fair, right? Again, you don't have to just disagree with what I pitch. It's its own podcast, right? So you could bat out even stupid ideas that you hear in the world, right? So if you don't think people should be able to switch their genders and compete in the sport that they switch genders to compete in, because it's not fair, then you get on the Bat podcast and you say why it's not a good idea, right? So I'm just throwing out an example there. And yeah, so that is the Bat podcast. Yeah, guys, I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Peace out. I love you. Bye.